Hey, welcome everybody to the DBC Inc. Thursday night webinar. We have a great one for you tonight. We have two amazing guests, Renee and Lynette, who are the co-authors of one of our new books, which is called Ed Branding. It's amazing. Hopefully you've had a chance to pick up a copy. If not, hopefully after tonight, you're going to be really wanting to get one. And I am also joined by, that's right, the baddie from the natty, the queen of CrossFit, Tara Martin. How you doing, Tara?
I'm doing great. The webinar people are like, I don't know if I'm in the right spot. And I get it. I get it. Actually, if you feel like you're not sure if you're in the right spot because you got this random template email from Kajabi, you're in the right spot. The one that came right behind it was your one. We're so excited that you're here. And I don't know how those crossed each other, but you know what? We're not going to worry about it because we are here to learn some great stuff from two amazing edu branding powerhouse ladies that are going to teach some great stuff that we can take and use even tonight or tomorrow. So don't you worry about that little random email. Just delete it and don't ever think about it again.
By the way, as you're joining us, please throw your name over into the comments. We would love
Sure.
to see who's here. And I see Cameron is here. So we have already gone international with Cameron joining us.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, we're so happy for everyone to be joining us. I am going to pop out of here and leave Tara, Renee, and Lynette to handle this. You are in fantastic hands. And so I just wanted to be here and say thank you so much for joining in, and we'll chat later.
For sure. Thanks, Dave. All right. So we have two amazing women here today, the co-authors of Ed Branding. We are so pumped about this webinar. I'm going to let them tell you just a tad about themselves. So Renee, Lynette, just a quick, super quick, like, what do you do? And in case people don't already know you, just introduce yourself a little bit so they can get ready to put their learning brains on and get ready to learn some great stuff from you guys. So let's let Lynette go first.
As I'm pointing at Renee, I'm like, no, Renee, go first.
You go.
So I'm Lynette. I am currently in transition. So I just transitioned to a new district, same role. I'm a public information officer now for Palo Alto Unified School District in the fabulous Silicon Valley. I love all things communication. Tara and I chat about dogs a lot. Same with Renee. I have 3 kids and a husband. And they support me in doing all this crazy stuff that I choose to do for fun. But I love being in education. It's just awesome getting to work with all these amazing educators. So thank you for being here.
We're so excited.
Well, and I'm Renee Bryant. I serve as the proud director of Plurilingual Services here at Anaheim Union High School District. That's where I'm at. I'm in my fancy office. And I also serve as an adjunct professor for Cal State University Fullerton in the doctoral program for organizational theory. It's very exciting. And I get to be a co-host with Lynette for the Ed Branding podcast. And all these journeys brought us together to write this book, the Ed Branding book, How to Build Social Influence and Leadership. We've been saying the Ed Branding book for so long now. I'm like, what's the rest of it? But yeah, it's the Ed Branding book. So Tara, we owe everything to you. We want to thank you for just being so fantastic. And thank you for being a great mentor and a sponsor for us. And we appreciate you. And the book is the Ed Branding book, How to Build Educational Leadership with Social Influence. There we go.
Yeah, we are so excited. Thank you so much. We're excited. We're excited to publish your beautiful project, but also just to learn from you tonight. And you know what? I just noticed we all match. We're all like in black jackets. It's like we planned this.
No,
we need to be like a little singing crew. All right. We are going to put the slides up and let these beautiful ladies take over. You're in great hands. I'm going to back down into the bottom. Let them take over. We are going to have about 15, 17-ish minutes of content. We'll come back and tell you about a couple of things. You do want to stay till the end. If you're watching this on the playback, if for some reason you could not make it live, don't worry. This video will be available to you tomorrow morning. You'll get a link in your email that'll let you watch it for 48 hours. And so don't you worry, you'll still have the opportunity. And the best part is we're going to talk about the freebie that we're going to give away at the very end. And also everyone who wasn't able to join live, we know you guys are busy at the end of the school year. When you get that email with the freebie link, with the video link, you also get a link for the freebie as well. So everyone who registers gets access to everything, whether they were able to join live or they have to watch it within that 48 hours. So I'm going to turn it over to the ladies. Renee, Lynette, take over, teach us something wonderful, and we can't wait to learn from you. I'm going to back out of your way.
We can't hear you, Lynette. You're muted, my dear.
Okay. Pretend that didn't happen. So this is the plan for the webinar. You've just met us. We're going to talk about leading with social influence. We're going to talk about branding and why it matters, our brand as values, your chosen board of directors that you hear Renee talk about all the time on our podcast, the value of a PLN, and then our freebie is the 5 tips to leading with social influence, and then how you can connect with us if you don't already know.
We already talked a little bit about ourselves, so I'm going to slide through all this. And here is our book again. I'm going to say the title correctly again. The Ed Branding Book, How to Build Educational Leadership with Social Influence. And thank you again, Dave Burgess and Tara Martin. And we have a podcast as well that we talked about. And I'll lend it over to Lynette.
Yeah, and with the podcast, we love to have educators on and amplify their voices. So please reach out to us once you get our contact info so that you could be on the podcast and maybe we can amplify your voice and your story. And then so about the session, I always challenge people to create a post about the session. We're really condensing our typical session into like a really short thing right now, but I still want you to post about it. Post about something that you've learned. Post about something that you can teach us. Tag Renee and myself and try to find some new PLN members to follow. If you mention your personal brand in a post, we will definitely reply to you. And so leading with social influence, this is that tricky part in our title that I always forget as well. So don't feel bad, Renee. But it really helps build community relationships and trust. It allows you to have the finger on the pulse, and we are all storytellers. So as far as leading with social influence, it's one of the top 10 skills of 2025, according to World Economic Forum. You can see it's leadership and social influence. You are influenced every day when you log into social media by, TikTok influencers, content creators, people selling swag, products, whatever. So our thought behind that is, why can't we use some of that same thinking to influence the communities that we serve, to influence the people in our sphere of influence? And so finger on the pulse. One thing that I really encourage people in school districts, particularly superintendents, principals, you can have your finger on the pulse of what's going on at your school district, at your school site, within your department, if you just take a quick swipe through social media. So this is Palo Alto Unified, the district that I will now be working for full time. And so their hashtag is hashtag PAUSD Promise. And you can see their PAUSD Promise if you get a chance to look on their website. It's it's their goals for each year that they have. And you can see that reflected in all of their posts that they do. It allows you to have your finger on the pulse of the district, what's going on, what's great, new initiatives. It just really keeps your community informed just by following people on social media, as long as everyone is posting.
Nice. So now we're going to get into a little bit about why educational branding specifically matters. We know it's more than just a logo. We do consider it next level leadership for educators. And we know that there's all these other reasons why branding matters, what we're doing in our classroom, letting people know what we're doing at the site, and what we're doing in the organization as a whole. And that matters for enrollment and our bonds. So we know that there have been many districts suffering, especially in California, but all over, from declining enrollment and declining birth rates. And so we are also competing with charter schools. And it's really important that we, as public school officials, public school members, people who have benefited from public school. I know I did. I know Lynette did. I know Tara did. That we are telling the great story about what public school has done for us and is still doing. We know that many districts are struggling with how to tell their stories. That's how Lynette got her new position, right? Making sure that telling the good story everywhere. And a district like even San Francisco was making sure that they were contracting with a firm to help boost their image, make sure they are getting the word out. I'll talk a little bit about how Anaheim Union, we had to do something like that too. So it's not an option anymore to brand and tell our story. It is a necessity. And we talked a little bit about this, the fact that it is a necessity. We don't wait until we're going to ask for a bond to tell our story. We have to be telling the story on a daily basis about what we are doing and making sure we're seeking input, getting feedback, and being really explicit about what we've done with the money we've already collected in previous bonds and what we will do with this, and making sure we are showing all of the great things in pictures, in videos, maybe live feeds from construction sites that so people can see where their money is actually going. And those are some of the whys. So our book is actually broken into branding for self, branding for site, and branding for organization. So we wanted to start with the self. We always ask people on our podcast, what is your brand? We know Lynette's brand is tell your story. My brand is connection, be a connector. Tara's brand is be real. So that usually starts, people ask us, well, how do you determine your brand? And we always tell people to start with their core values. So we're going to talk about that, talk about a board of directors. How do you get one of those? Why is that important? And then looking at your site and really doing the same activities with them and making sure people understand the alignment between them and the organization, and then as well as the organization as a whole, the mission, vision, and values. So starting with the brand and your core values. These are activities that Brene Brown, we have a picture of her, free PDF you can get online here. Kouzes and Posner in their book, The Leadership Challenge, they've asked people to do this. I was asked to do this as a teacher leader in a teacher leader certification academy around the book Kouzes and Posner's published, and also asked to do it in the doctoral program. And I myself, I have this assignment for my doctoral students so that when things get gray and we're not sure which way to go, we go back to our core values. So this is an activity that's in the book. We're excited for you to do this activity, have your core values defined, and also really defining what the behaviors look like. So if I say my core value, the top one is love. What does it mean to me? Loving myself, loving others, treating people the way they want to be treated would be a behavior. And that's a good place to start to define your brand. So that tells you a lot about my brand of connection. Lynette, yours is tell your story. And I'm sure that has a lot to do with your own core values. So a personal board of directors, it's so important that we stop for a moment and ask ourselves, well, I say my brand is connection, but have I checked in with other people who are close to me, people I respect, maybe people in my industry, people out of my industry who I respect, who I've asked, hey, will you be a part of my personal board of directors? That way, when I have to make certain decisions, or maybe I have these core values and I want to talk to you, personal board of director member, is this decision that I'm making, does it really reflect my values? Is the brand that I say is accurate? Do you see me living those values on a daily basis? So if you don't have a personal board of directors, it doesn't have to be as complicated as this chart here. It could be simply, 6 people, could be a couple family members, but we encourage you to go outside your family, find maybe someone who's in maybe a position higher than yours, ask them to sit on your board of directors, maybe some peers as well. So this brings us to kind of the site. And when we talk about values, and we're going to talk about Anaheim Unions, when I first got to Anaheim Union, these were the mascots that were painted on the walls of the school. This did not represent the values of our site at Savannah. So we really had to work with our students. A democracy school is what it was. We empowered our students and our families to come together and decide, does these images really represent this mascot? And they said no. And we came down with the Savannah S that's on the bottom. And that really represents more so our core values. Again, looking at your classroom or your site or your organization, doesn't really reflect where you are as an innovator. Is this what you want people to see? And so we moved from these old logos to these newer logos. Again, revising our mission and vision and our core values as an organization. These really reflect who we want to be as a system, as leaders, for our scholars, staff, and families. So now talking about the value of a professional learning network. We want to make sure we're collaborating, amplifying each other's voices. And I always say you get out of things what you put into them. So in our book, we also talk about mapping your PLN. And I wasn't asked to do this until I was in the Stanford Ed Leaders program. And they asked us, okay, we want you to network, to map out your network that you have that could connect to your organization. And that's to help your scholars, that's to help your staff and your families and community. So what are the networks that you have? There's that old saying of the 7 degrees or 6 degrees of separation. We're only really so many degrees, 6 or 7 away from a connection that we can leverage and to help our scholars, to help our families, to help staff and community. And so some people, they think of the word networking, it seems yucky, icky, but it's really not. It's what we're doing to help our scholars. I'm going to hand it back over to Lynette, who's going to give you some awesome tips.
Thank you, Renee. I would say if anyone in the chat wants to share their brand too, that would be really awesome after now hearing from Renee and maybe getting to think about it a little bit. I think that would be really great. Okay, so some social tips. Let's see, what's the next slide? Your key social media platforms. So I really developed this slide when I was working with West Ed. They're like a really well-known educational researching organization. And so I was asking them, what are the key social media platforms if you're looking for a job or if you're looking for a potential candidate for a position that you have, if you're from a recruiting firm, for example. And so LinkedIn came out on top for sure. X is still there, and I have my feelings about X. Tara and I were kind of chatting before with the changes that are going on X today that I'm not so super thrilled about. But LinkedIn is where I see a lot of educators migrating when they tend to leave X. And then Instagram is so your triple threat. Instagram is the triple threat for social media. You're going to reach your students, you're going to reach your staff, you're going to reach your families on there. And so then you can see where your parents are, where your students are versus where your staff are. There's a lot of overlap. Students are definitely heavy on TikTok. Fun fact, if you didn't know, students don't use Google anymore. They're now TikToking to see if things are true or not, which I don't know if it's a great thing, but it's good for us to know that. And my point behind this slide is for you to know where you post your content. So if it's like a student heavy thing, don't put it on X. They're typically not in that space looking for that information. They'll be looking on Instagram. And then content that works every time. Cute kids, like I say, no explanation necessary. A cute kid wins every time. It doesn't have to show a cute kid's face. It could show like behind the head, you know, their little hands working on a project. Cute kids win all the time. But you also want to be sure that you are highlighting academics. What is your district value in terms of academics? Collaboration with colleagues, all those wonderful meetings that we all love sitting in and collaborating in. Definitely take pictures of that because the public, again, like Renee said, they like to see the people who they're investing in and what they're doing to make these decisions. Are they collaborating with each other? Can you show that on your social media feeds? And then school events, day in the life. I mean, that speaks for itself. School events, day in the life are always interesting because it gives you that, you know, that view into something that maybe you don't get to see all the time. These are some examples of content that works every time. You can see the first photo has a lot of back of the heads. That post went on to do really, really well. Of course, the cute little girl reading the book and on, you know, celebrating staff members, celebrating students, celebrating their achievements. And then where to start. So I always say social media is your friend and social media is always there to welcome you back. So if you fall off the social media edge and haven't been posting as much lately, it is always there ready and willing to post your content again. So set up or clean your professional accounts. You definitely want to have a professional account versus a personal account. You want to have one of each. So like I follow all my singers, anybody in maybe politics. I follow them all on my personal account. Professionally, I keep it very school-based. So I follow other districts. I follow other educators. I follow, schools within the districts that I'm serving, just so that it keeps that feed very clean. There's no potholes to fall in. And that is just your professional place. And then brand yourself, your values, what you stand for. It's not just what you say. It's not just, a phrase that you put out there. Like, how are you also showing that? Like, put the money where your mouth is and really show that post that displays, for example, love, like Renee said, or for me, telling your story. I am huge on amplifying the stories of other people because I feel like when you know about someone, you can care about them. And so how are you showing your brand in what you post? And then collaborate. Find your PLN and collaborate. An easy way to find a PLN is hashtag. So like hashtag DBC Inc. Books brings you to all the DBC people. Hashtag Ed Branding brings you to all the great friends that we have that are following that hashtag. So find hashtags, follow those hashtags, find your PLN, and collaborate. Like Renee said, you get out of it what you put into it. And so the more that you're collaborating and chatting with people, the more that they're gonna, like your content, and you'll be able to learn some things from each other.
Oh, goodness. That's so true. And then, Lynette, we always talk about these rules, right? We have the golden rule, treat others the way you want to be treated. Platinum rule, treat people the way they want to be treated. So important when we're on social media to think of that before we post. And then as far as our organization, as we're posting, be thinking about, we're not just representing ourselves. We work for a district. We are representing the entire ecosystem, including our superintendent, board of trustees, everyone, and parents. People that you don't think are looking are definitely looking.
And I gotta say, I'm looking at the chat. I love Cameron's comments about the social platforms. And I love that the new marketing manager introduced the school to LinkedIn and Instagram on top of Facebook, because LinkedIn is definitely where it's at. Like, you are definitely missing a whole bunch of people if you are a school district and you're not on LinkedIn. That is where people are looking to find jobs. That's where people within your community are looking to find places they can donate. I can say that a lot from Palo Alto. Posting on their LinkedIn has been super lucrative for us. Not to mention just getting the story out there. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And so these five.
Did you see Lisa's Brown? She's all unstoppable together. I love it. Yeah.
I love it. And so the 5 hashtag Ed Branding tips for leading with social influence. This is your freebie that you're going to get. I hope it stokes some conversation. If you have some 5 other hashtag Ed Branding tips that you'd like to share with us, I would love it if you posted it and shared that with us.
And again, you can scan this to listen to our podcast, and we invite you to scan this if you're interested in being on our podcast. You may recognize some of the faces here on our screenshots with us. I think I see Jessica Gomez and Allison Apsey, 2 DBC authors. And we've had Dave and Tara. So we encourage you to scan and be a part of the Ed Branding family. Here's our contact information if you'd like to get a hold of us. And I'll hand this over to Lynette right here.
Again, create a post about this. Create a post about this webinar. Tag us. Be sure that you tag Tara and Dave as well, so we can start some really cool conversation around branding and social media. And thanks for joining us.
For sure. Thank you, everyone. You did. It was awesome. It was so fun. You guys crushed it. I feel like there was just so much to learn in there, and I loved all the comments. So many people talking about all the different platforms and how to use them. But I really appreciated the specifics of, kind of just helping us to realize that we don't have to look for great content. It's not hard. It's just a matter of doing it, documenting it. And I think that's where sometimes I think in a school system, we get nervous. We're like, oh, everything needs to be polished. It needs to be perfect. And really, honestly, I do a lot of social media content, obviously. And I think I used to think like that. I used to think, oh man, I got to make it perfect. I got to ask Dave, like you can ask my boss. He's like right here. Even just creating images for our company, and started to realize, sometimes Dave will just take a picture of a book. Like he's just reading and he just takes a picture of himself on a plane, like drinking a Diet Coke and reading one of the books. And it gets like way more likes and love than sometimes
It-
the polished
That's yeah.
image. You
I
know,
love that.
and I think it's just, it goes back to just keeping it real. And you kind of were talking about that on the slide, like cute kids and just things that are happening all the time in your system. When people see that, they want to be a part of it, right? When people see Dave sitting with a Diet Coke, reading a book on a plane, they're like, oh, okay, I can relate to this guy. Like, what is he reading that he's so excited about? Like, I want to know, you know, and I think we forget those parts of ed branding too. It doesn't always have to be perfect. It doesn't always have to be polished. Just share the great things that are happening in your world.
And that's what I say all the time. Like, you don't need to do anything extra because what educators are doing every day is already enough.
Awesome.
Like,
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you don't have to dress it up, just show it.
Yeah, that's what people relate to too. And just show what you do, share what you know, show what you do. That's what we want to see. And that's what people want to see. So thank you so much for just creating this beautiful resource for us in ed branding with the book, but also this amazing webinar. And remember, if you haven't already picked up the book, we'll drop that link over in the comments section. I'll let Dave do that while I'm chatting, but we'll drop that link over in the comment section. Also, you will be getting it in your email tomorrow. You'll get a few links. You're going to get 3 links. One will take you to rewatch this beautiful webinar. If you want to watch it with you, again, stop it, pause it, whatever. You have 48 hours to do so. Also, you'll get a link to that freebie. And we'd love for you to start trying some of those ed branding tips with your school system. These ladies have come up with 5 ways that you can share your message. You can do that every month. Why don't you just do one a week? Every week, you just post one and do it for the rest of the school year and start your next school year out with that. That's a great start. And then the third link is going to be the ed branding book. If you haven't picked it up yet, you're going to want to. There's so much great information in there. You just got a tiny little 15-minute glimpse of what you could be learning. So definitely pick up that book. And Renee, Lynette, you guys crushed it tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on this evening after work. And Renee's still at work. And
board meeting night, board meeting, everybody.
Board meeting night. Those are maybe not my favorite nights, but it's okay. Gotta happen. So thank you everyone for joining us. We'll be having more webinars throughout the summer, so do stay tuned for those. Next week, we will have a live though with Dave and I, so you'll want to join that. I'm sure we'll have an agenda packed with things to do. That means we'll be rambling on about all kinds of things, so you should join in. And yeah, thank you again for joining our free webinar, Ed Branding with Renee and Lynette. Thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful night. And yeah, everybody's saying thank you. We thank you. We're like so international. We have multiple people coming. That's great. And we had a bunch of you sign up. So thanks for the I think it was like 80 people that signed up tonight. So thank you so much for all those that are going to watch on playback video. So we appreciate you. Be looking for that email in your inbox tomorrow morning. Bye, everyone.